Okay, so today's video is going to be a lot like yesterday's video, where what we're going to be doing is just reviewing the types of problems that are going to be on there. And so the first type of problem that's going to be on there is they might have us graph something that's like this. And when you're thinking about how you'd graph something like this, you'd look at this and go, well, I can't graph it because this is not in a nice form. So for us to be able to graph it normally, we're going to make an XY chart. We always want to make this middle number our vertex. If you think about how do you find vertex in standard form, you do negative b over 2a, which for us would be negative 8 over 2 times 2 would be 4. So that would give me negative 2. So my vertex would be negative 2. This x value, well, I should do one below, so negative 3 and then negative 1. Then how would I find my y values? I'd take these things and I'd plug them into here. So if you plug that in, oh, I can do some of that in my head. So we'd get 18. We'd get 18 minus 24 plus 4, which would give you negative 2. That would give you 8 minus 16 plus 4, and that should give us negative 4. And then 1 should give us the same. We can double check, but 2 minus 8 plus 4, and that is again negative 2. So then we have our points. So I would just go here and I would just graph my points. So I'd go 1, 2, 3 over here, and 1, 2, 3, 4 down. We'd have a point right here, then a point right here at negative 2, and a point right here at negative 2. And we just draw our U shape through it, and that would be our graph. That's how you do the first problem. Let's look at the second. Okay, so the second one's on the discriminant. The discriminant is just deciding how many solutions a problem has. The only thing that affects how many solutions a problem has is the square root. If a number is negative, you have no solutions or imaginary solutions. If the number is positive, you have 2 real solutions, and if the number is 0, you only have 1. So we just care about what's under the square root. And if you remember what's under the square root, it's this, b squared minus 4ac. So we'd have the square root of 36 minus, well, a is 1 and b is 10, so that would be 40, which that gives us the square root of negative 4. So my discriminant is a negative 4, so I'd have 2 imaginary solutions or no real solutions. Any way you want to say that, but you have 2 imaginary solutions because you can't take the square root of a negative number. So what that would look like on a graph would be something like this. Your U shape just never crosses that x-axis. Let's do the third problem. Okay, so this one wants us to convert it to vertex form. How I would go about converting this thing to vertex form is the first thing I would do is I would want to find the vertex, because I know vertex form is y equals a x minus h squared plus k. And I know this is the x vertex. And this is the y vertex. Or if you remember before, it's our shifts. So how much we shift on our x and how much we shift on our y. A, we already know what that is. It's 2. So for this, we'd have y equals 2. Let's find our x by doing negative b over 2a, which in this case would be negative 8 over 4, which is negative 2. So it would be x plus 2 because it's always the opposite. And then we would take our negative 2 and plug it in to here to find our y. When we plug that in, we would get 8 minus 16 plus 4 or negative 4. And this would be that equation in vertex form. So again, remember when you plug things into vertex form, h will always be that x vertex, and k will always be that y vertex. Try the next one. Okay, so if you get something like this, what you want to do is add together your i's, In this case, when I'm looking at this, I'd have 7, because 3 and 4 is going to make 7, and 2i and 5i, so you'd get 7i. And that would be your answer. I knew that I needed to add the things because there's a plus sign in between. Let's look at some i's where we won't add. Okay, so for this one, you would distribute because it doesn't have any sign between it, so it's saying it should be multiplied. When you multiply this, you'll get 9 minus 12i. We'd then multiply this, which would give us 6i minus 8i squared. Okay, so now we'll just start doing what we know. That's 9 minus these two things together would be 6i minus 8i squared. The only thing I'd have to fix here is we know what I squared is. I squared equals -1. You should remember this because I is the square root of -1, so I squared should be the square root of -1 squared, and a square and a square root will cancel, giving you that to be -1. Meaning we have 9 minus 6i minus 8 times -1, or we would have 9 minus 6i plus 8, which this would be 17 minus 6i. And that would be our answer. The rest of the problems I'm going to make in another video where I actually go through and solve all the 4 types. So the only thing left that I have to go through is how you solve by doing the 4 types. So that's what we'll do in the next video. So that'll be that second part.